turn down all distractions. All right, we're going to get started here in just a few moments. Okay. Welcome to the live broadcast here. We're going to get started in just a few seconds. Mark Cameroon, The Rock from Brockton, Soldiers of Self-Mastery, Mauricio, Coach Jim out of Tucson, Arizona. Welcome. Hey, welcome guest, soldier in the making. Happy New Year to you. Welcome to your hour of power. Welcome to your hour of power. Your solution interactive podcast here. Get in, buckle up. All right, get in, buckle up, turn down all distractions. Grab a pen. All right, something to write. Did you invite a friend? I'm your host, Soldier of Self-Mastery here out of Stockton, California. Coach Jim will be with us, hopefully, here on this broadcast out of Tucson, Arizona. I am Coach Santos, founder, visionary, the world's #1 problem gambling interventionist. Please, we're going to have a great program. We're going to have a great 45 minutes here. It's going to be an exciting, learning, action-taking, if you will, broadcast. I hope you're with me tonight. I truly hope you're with me, and I'm going to stress the importance of taking notes on this broadcast. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. So come on. Gambling is a lie. Please remember that, all right? It'll turn you into a French fry. It'll make you die. Time to decide. Let go of your pride. We need to step inside. It's on. It's time. All right. Hey, congratulations on your work. Congratulations on your work there. Mark, were we able to turn? Am I coming through here? Is my voice coming through good? All right. Hey, folks, soldiers. I should say soldiers, right? And community members and guests. I might have forgotten that one. Get ready for an hour of power here, 45 minutes. I want to take on your questions. Jim has something that he wants to share here. If we can get him on the camera. He's got something on his mind he wants to share with you here before we get started. I'm gonna do my best to look at your questions. Challenge me, if you will, please. I'm begging you. Ask a question. Bring something to the table so that you can walk away with something out of this broadcast. I'm going to say that again. Bring something to the table. Challenge me. A question. Listen, I don't claim to be the master, but I'm pretty creative when it comes to ideas and letting my mind flow. And hopefully you can learn that. You can learn to do that for yourself. I got a video we're going to play in a little bit, at least 2 short videos about your what is the subconscious and how is it going to help you on the other side overcome your situation or find your answer, right? How's your subconscious? How's that part of your brain? Do you know where your subconscious is? I don't. Anyhow, Jim, we're going to bring you on the camera here. Did you can you hear me? Can you guys hear me well on the broadcast?
Yes.
Good? Right on. Hey, Jim, welcome. Good to see you, man. You had some thoughts. You had some thoughts earlier this week. I just wanted to give you a few minutes before we get started here. And I'm going to just kind of look at some questions and then get to a proverb, here. But we're going to see if we can get some of the community here to ask or challenge us. We got to be challenged, man. We got to take the gamble. Maybe I shouldn't use that word. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, thanks, Santos. Uh, I guess in terms of direction, we need clarity. If it's really you have to really look at your life and figure out where you want to go, and you really just gotta focus in on that. You know, some people have overcome gambling, and they need to start working on their economics, their finances, right? And they got to focus on that. I mean, if you don't have a focus, if you don't really have a purpose, you know, you're just going to be just blown around like a leaf in the wind. Um,
Mhm.
and for the gamblers out there, for the people who are addicted, you got to figure out what you want to do with your life. You know, you got to have that kind of clarity. Um, and I guess it's tough. Um, you know, we were talking before Santos, I think today about, you know, being clear about where you're leaning your ladder against, you know, because I think we don't take action because we're unsure about, you know, if we start acting and doing stuff, right, we're just moving in the wrong direction. It's like, oh, I don't know, you know, I don't think I can stop gambling, or I don't really want to have a plan about that because, you know, I I don't think I can do it. You know, I don't really have a reason to stop my addictions. You know, so I don't want to start climbing. You know, if I start doing that, you know, I don't, you know, I think I'm just it's I'm not going to be doing the right things, right? And I failed before, so what's the point? You know, I mean, you're uncertain. You're really uncertain about, you know, the, you know, where or what you want to do, because you don't know if that's going to work. You don't know if that's going to work. um, so uh, it's tough. It's tough. um, and I think that's something that we're all searching for. What do we need to start doing? And I guess it's important to listen to people like you who've gone through and say, you know what, this is where what Santos did, this is the actions he took, and he was able to move out of the pit. You know, he leaned his ladder, you know, against the right wall, you know, and he had the faith, and, you know, he started taking steps, you know, crawling, then started climbing, and then started walking, and then started running. You know what I mean? And hey, if we listen to people like you know, we can have kind of that confidence of what to do, you know, the confidence of what to do. Um, so yeah, being clear, and I guess it goes to the point of learning, you know, and finding out good ideas, you know, of what works, and then say, you know what, I can do it, and I'm going to go ahead and focus on that action, and I'm going to go and start taking those little steps up that ladder.
Exactly. Well said, Jim. Thank you for those words. You know, clarity, um, being staying focused. I find it's more challenging today for all of us, and it's going to become more challenging. Um, I got a proverb I want to read here. Once again, if you have a question, you got something that you want to ask, you know, let's take this time and prepare for tomorrow. Jim, what Jim was just talking about, some heartfelt words. You know, we're all, at least most people, I don't know, you know, sometimes, Jim, I hear people speaking and they say everyone wants to be successful. Well, I believe that, I don't know if everyone wants to be successful. Furthermore, what kind of a success is it that everyone or those that want it are looking for? What kind of success, right? We see all these people. In particular, I have nothing against rappers. I used to listen to a lot of music, but how, um, you know, the glamour. And it's not just rappers, it could be just people that come out, it seem like they just come out of the woodwork, and all of a sudden they're successful, people are listening to them, they're making lots of money, but it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. I was thinking about this mission. I refer to myself as the world's number one problem gambling interventionist because I was the world's number one worst gambler. you know, love and hate, two extremes. And let me see if I'm kind of getting a little bit distracted here. So as the founder of this mission, it's taken me like 4 or 5 years to get to where I am today. I was thinking about that yesterday. Uh, it's work, folks. We have to put in the work now. I remember I remember being desperate. I remember looking at my life. I was totally clueless, man. Just clueless. And I simply just began to write. Yeah, I was going through hard times. I didn't know. Most of the time when you're going through difficulties in life, you tend to blame other people. But I didn't know that it was mostly my decisions and my upbringing and the way that I was talking to myself and who I was associating with that was affecting my behavior, my subconscious. So please bring, I don't know, I'm kind of feel like I don't want to go off on a tangent there. I'm working on super fantastic, terrific, and over the top, Mark. That's my work every single day. So thank you for the question. Um, Mark did ask a question here. So good words, by the way, Jim. We got to stay on that topic as we go through the rest of the last 15 to 20 minutes, where we'll talk a little bit more about this, what we can do about fixing ourselves, man. I don't know about you guys on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. Well, I know a few of yous on YouTube. You want to fix yourself. I do. I want to fix myself every day. Uh, I think, in particular, not just to be successful and have a lot of money. I mean, we all want to have that, but the more important thing is having peace and what Jim spoke about, clarity, right? Clarity, having focus. Every morning, you could wake up Monday morning and that's what you got. You're not smashing the electronic rooster, right? Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let me read the proverb and then we'll get into this question here. Anyways, this is Luke 16. Pardon my French, but I'm going to use a bad word here. Okay. Believe me, it's not as bad as we think, though. And in hell he lift up his eyes, being in torments. You ever feel like you're living in hell? Sometimes I feel like I'm living in hell, and the worst thing to do is look down because you might trip over something. You know what I'm saying? But this guy, the scripture says that, of course, this is a parable. He lift up his eyes. He was in hell. He lift up his eyes. He was in torments. He's going through a difficult time, this person here. And he seeth Abraham afar off and Lazarus in his bosom. My point here in this proverb is just to point out that this guy's going through torments and he lifts his eyes up. Obviously you can't see from this point, right? You're walking around, you kind of stumble, you might slip on a banana peel. But when you're looking up, you're going somewhere. So thank you for asking. Kamaru, hey, welcome. Let me see. I've got a question for Jim here in a minute. Not my usual interactive self, but I am here to support. Thank you. I appreciate that. Ken. Really do. Appreciate all of you guys. Did you tell yourself today or yesterday that you appreciate yourself in the mirror? Ankar, good evening. Okay, any questions? Mauricio says listening well. Any questions? Questions, folks? Yes. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. You got a question? Send it my way. Challenge me. I need a challenge. That's what makes us better, isn't it, Jim? Challenges is what really makes us better. When we don't have challenges, we feel dead. Dead, like people Well, they're not people anymore, right? The bones are left in the casket, and then it all dissolves into the ground, dust to dust, and ashes to ashes. We're dead. I don't like feeling dead. Any questions? Anything about gambling? Anything about addiction? Anything about wow, we're doing a good job here. In fact, still gambling free. Who says that? Still gambling free. Go ahead, Jim. You want to share?
Yeah, in regards to clarity, you know, I think one of the important things uh, to be able to do is to, see ourselves, really kind of look at, what the heck, getting real with ourselves, getting real. So what the heck is going on in our lives, and just write down. It's like, I got some issues. I got some issues, and it's tough to look at ourselves. It's really tough to look at ourselves and kind of list, the challenges that we have. I mean, we don't want to beat ourselves down, right? We don't want to use, the problems in our lives as like a club to beat ourselves up with,
Victim.
yeah, like a victim. I mean,
Yeah.
but it's important to see, how we are right now, currently. You know, it's like Dr. Phil says, "How's it working for you?" You know, and well, what's happening?
Yeah.
You got to know what's happening in your life, and is it good or is it bad? You know, and you got to like peel off the band-aid and look at that ugly, nasty thing that's underneath the band-aid. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you got an infection there. You got an infection. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it looks ugly. It's scary. Man, it's scary. You know. All
Yeah.
right, now, okay. Once you overcome that trauma, right, of looking at that wound, right, that's kind of festering. It's like now it's time. Okay, what am I going to do? Okay, I mean sometimes it's scary. It's like I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. You know, but there is always a solution because we're pretty strong. I think Jordan Peterson says that it's like life is tough, but we're tougher. And I think we have a lot of evidence in our own lives to say, yeah, we gone through some tough times, but we were able to overcome those. We were able to endure and push through. So, I mean, being able to have that courage of seeing the problem in our lives, right? Write it down, and then being strong enough to say, okay, yeah, I do have a problem. Maybe I don't know what to do. I'm kind of scared, and then start creating a plan, start brainstorming, ways to get out of this. And I'm thinking back to that ladder and the wall analogy. I mean, uh, there was a kind of a video computer game called Load Runner, and it was all about getting up to different levels with ladders, you know. And I'm thinking, it kind of reminds me. Okay, so you can go up a little wall, right? Putting it against a little wall and climbing a little bit up, right? And then picking yourself a little bit up. Let's say journaling, right? You know, journaling is the right thing to do. That's the right wall to lean your ladder against. And then you start climbing, right? You start writing stuff down, right? You go up to another level, right? You accomplish that goal. Okay, what am I going to do with this information now? It's like, oh, well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to I journal. It's like, I did this yesterday. That was no good. Today I'm going to set a little goal of not doing it. So you take action of what you reflected on, right?
Mm-hmm.
You set a plan, you did it. You leaned your another ladder against the right wall, right? And then you climbed. It's like, I did it. I did it. So you start kind of thinking carefully about what you're doing. You have little successes, right? And I think that really, really helps you focus in on better and better solutions and actions of what to do. Um, I think getting that momentum is very important. It's very important. I think we know what to do. I think we know what to do. What are the right things to do? Um, but it should start off with small steps, right? It not huge mountains to climb, right? Not at once, right? Start with something
Yeah.
smaller, move up, get that
Mhm.
confidence, know that you can do it. In teaching, I remember teaching at Sylvan Learning Center. When you start off a lesson, with skills that the students were deficient at, you would allow the student, you give them tasks, and they were, fairly simple tasks, and they got through it, you know. And the reason why Sylvan had those types of, more simple tasks is to build that confidence, build that confidence. Yeah, I was able to do that. Yes, I got that done. So that's what we need to do in our lives, right? We need to set, those kinds of small goals that are achievable, that's doable, right? Smarts, right? Those kinds of goals where they're doable, and and to build that momentum. um, so
Mhm.
yeah, and I think that will help us, you know refine our focus. And that goes in like business too. It's like if we're
Mhm.
trying to, earn more, develop our income in a better way, right? We start off with the basic. We
Mhm.
start little, right? You build our skills, you know and then we build our strength, and then we take on a little bit more. We take on a little bit more, and we take on a little bit more. um, I think that's important, because if we try to set off a goal, it's like, what, I'm going to stop my addiction cold turkey, I'm never going to do it again. you know that's a pretty big mountain to climb when you've been at that addiction, in your subconscious, grooved in your system for over and over, right? And
Yeah.
then let's say, you're successful for one day, but you fall off the wagon, whatever it is. Guess how you feel? You feel like a loser. You feel like, oh, I can't do this stuff. So we got to break it down. We got to break it down.
Yeah. Excellent words there. In fact, I was listening to a teacher, and I want to get to this question. Like I said, I know that we've been through 22, 23 minutes of the broadcast, and I'm asking, ask some questions there. I know you guys are. I hope you take something away from the broadcast every time that you come here. Sometimes I see a small community, sometimes I see a larger community. And by the way, if you're not soldier scribed, as I said earlier, I think I said this, please remember to soldier scribe and turn your notifications to all. Please. Please remember that gambling is a lie. Please remember that gambling is a lie. It'll turn you into a French fry, make you die. Anyhow, how do we proceed from the history of gambling losses? Well, coming to a community like this will help. I believe this very, very strongly. Coming here and being a part of this broadcast and presenting a question like that. And, again, by coming here, this is a support group. But ultimately, you have to make the decision. Jim mentioned this earlier about individual. He talked about us, that we have to, more or less, we have to decide. And I say decide now. We got to decide to work on ourselves. We got to decide to look inwardly. You have to decide, and it's an ongoing process. You know what I'm saying? It's not just a 2 day. This is a lifetime process. For me, some days I get tempted to go gamble. Things happen. Um, uh, things happen, right? And sometimes the struggle is very real. It's a little bit stronger than at other days, at least for me. But I've anchored my decision, and I turn to my tools. Another thing, I turn to my tools. I go into my portfolio and I start looking for tools to use on myself. And the truth is that the subconscious is something that you may have to attack from different angles: journaling, community involvement, watching videos, going for a walk, reading a 3x5 card as you're walking around the park once or twice. You may have to hit your mind from different angles to really get change going, to to get your subconscious, right? Your subconscious. This is like maybe a good analogy. Your subconscious is like this piece of paper here, right? It's got code in there. It's got language. It's got stuff inside there. And then your conscious mind is this is kind of like what we're thinking about. We're using right now. I believe that we're using our conscious mind to talk and to think about these things. I'm sure the conscious mind is working also. But do you see the difference between the conscious mind and your regular mind? So guess what, Jim? Hey, I'm going to change. I'm going to change this behavior that I've been doing for 5 years. I did it for almost 30 years. So guess what the subconscious code in there says? Well, you think you can defeat me? They go back and forth, right? And this is going on inside your mind. This is going on inside your brain, and you have no clue until you understand what's going on. Well, this who has the greater pull? Of course, this one's filled to the brim, right? This one's filled, and everything that you've ever done in your life or you've gone through, you tasted, you smelled, you slipped when you were 3 years old. You don't even remember that. It's inside your subconscious. So if you go back, way back, you might even be able to remember that. You might be able to extract that. So what is the goal for all of us if we want to get clarity, if we want to get focused, we want to defeat the FTs, the focus thieves, we want to defeat the limiting beliefs. You see, there's a big battle here going on. No wonder, man, I can't defeat my gambling problem that I've had for 15 years now. Man, you got you got to work with this little mind that you have, the conscious mind. That's why I say you got to use this part of your brain here to hit this thing so that it's reversed. Now you're basically kind of running your subconscious mind, not completely, not fully, but you'll end up running a good percentage of it. And what will happen is this thing will help you find your solutions. It'll help you find your answers. It'll help you find those micro steps if you put enough pressure on it, right? Well, I just do journaling. Yeah, that's a little pressure on it, right? I do a little bit of journaling. Maybe I meditate. We're going to do a little seed drop later on. I meditate for like 2 minutes, right? Like I said, sometimes you got be a part of a community, read a book, start a journal, do some electronic affirmations, if you will. You can also, hey, Santos, are you trying to sell us coaching? You can also get yourself, well, you don't have to pay for coaching unless you want to, if you can afford to, but you can also find a counselor someplace that you can kind of work with. Sometimes there's some good counselors out there that you don't have to pay for. Maybe the insurance, whatever you got will pay for that. But having two brain, in fact, we talked about this, Jim and I, having two brain powers is better than one. It's like 1 horsepower, right, versus 2 horsepower. If you were on a bicycle, which would you rather have? 1 horsepower or 2? I know I went about that long here to answer your question, but I got a video. I got a video here. Rob says, excellent, Jim, about the Band-Aid. No more time for injuries. Yeah, we got to pull the Band-Aid off. And sometimes it smells underneath the Band-Aid, Jim, it stinks. Like you were saying, we don't want to pull the Band-Aid off, man, Yeah, I remember I was on a motorcycle accident, really pretty bad when I was about 16 years of age. And I got road rage and they wrapped up my elbows. I remember I was going back to school that year. It was beginning of school again. So I had wraps around this elbow. I had a wrap around this one. I had one around my legs and my back. And why was I bringing that up? Oh, yeah. I didn't want to go to the hospital, man. They were going to dig the little rocks out of my skin. I hesitated until I couldn't wait anymore. And then they took me to the hospital and they brushed me with a thing. I remember they were taking the rocks off. It was some kind of a weird. Anyhow, it hurts, man. Sometimes it smells really bad, you don't want to pull that Band-Aid out. But until you pull that band-aid off and look at the damage, right? Again, it's all about the battle that's going on inside the head, in your mind, and finding the best ways to get your subconscious to begin focusing, right? You go about your duty, but yet your subconscious is working to bring those things into your life, that micro step, that idea, um, that video, or some kind. Maybe you got a problem at your job, right? You got this problem with your business. You got some kind of business. You got this problem, but you're not pressing your subconscious enough. You're not laying that problem on your subconscious enough for your subconscious to really to give you a solution. It's like a light bulb and a laser beam, right? We got the light bulb going on inside the subconscious, right? The light bulb. What we want is a laser beam focused on one thing, right? A laser, you focus on one thing, put that pressure, and then it begins to come about, and then you can do other things. And of course, that one program that you break through into your mind will create belief, like Jim was saying. You create belief, right? Because if you don't have belief, we, I mean, yeah, we have to create belief. We have to generate belief, self belief. However, we got to do it. We got to turn it on. However, we got to do it. Um, okay, Jim, that was great. Um, what do you do? What was that, Santos? I was reading that. Lars, great stuff. Thank you. Appreciate that. By the way, I want to read something. I got this. I get these emails here just about every day. But I wanted to read this because it just really hit me this morning. This person commented on my video, and I'm doing this just to show you that we make an impact in people's lives, and it does help us, right? It's not about we all have a gift, we all have a talent, we have an ability. We got to band together. It says really thankful. This was earlier today. This person said, really thankful I found you and your content. I like I feel like you're talking to men and women in a way that humanity has missed for a very long time. I feel so many human beings are so flawed in their understanding because of so much trauma and confusion. Trauma and confusion. We talked about that, Jim, earlier. That we need clarity. Even instructors on the matters around relationships are, for a great part, not so clean, even with the best of intentions. Thank you so much for your video. I was in bed crying, trying to figure out a solution to a losing situation, and your video just popped up and clarified everything. That's interesting. Thank you for your guidance, Mendexpert. That's the guy's name, or female's name. I've been praying for direction, and you helped me see things more clearly. So, that really encouraged me, man. Earlier, I got that earlier this morning. I get emails like that, not all the time, but I get them a couple times a week. And, 4 years, 5 years, it took me to get to where I am with this broadcast and uh, my recovery, permanent recovery. And it's what I really, truly want to pass on to people, not just recovery, but the ability to really believe that you've got something that's hiding. You've got something lurking underneath the treasure box, and maybe you haven't discovered it yet. We all have these abilities, and we all have the ability to short play, right? To downplay. Jim said earlier, there's no need to beat ourselves down. What we need to do is beat ourselves up. You know what I'm saying? Up, not down, but up. If you're going to beat yourself up, if you're going to beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself down, if that makes sense. Um, Anyhow, okay, I'm done. I believe I'm done clarifying that. I was speaking about the mission, and it takes time. And Jim, the more that we wait, that we procrastinate, and we don't do what we should be doing, we find ourselves 2 years later, 3 years later, saying, "Man, I could have started this like 3 years ago, and I didn't." Yeah, it didn't pay off. I remember a lot of things weren't working out in the beginning when I started doing this community stuff, and broadcast number 200, I believe. But I just kept on. I'm stubborn like that. I guess I'm a glutton for punishment. No, I'm not a glutton for punishment. I'm a glutton for failure, and I learn through my failure, and I just keep going because I recognize that it is through failure that you achieve. And if you're ashamed to say that you fail at times, if you're ashamed to say that, then you're not learning. You're not learning from your failure because you will fail. Every day you fail, and be okay with that. Be okay with failure. Like the failure of gambling right now, that's a failure. You know what? But you can do away with it, right? Wow, man, I've lost a lot of stuff. Have you learned anything through this journey that you've been on of gambling or some kind of a weird addiction that you're still hiding from yourself or you're trying to hide from yourself, but it doesn't work out? All right. What's Jim got to say?
Yeah, Santos, you're talking about the subconscious and conscious. Um, what you were saying kind of reminded me of a couple of things. Number one, your mom had a partner who passed away. I believe he passed away because of colon cancer. Now there were signs. There were signs that he had the disease. You know, but he dismissed them. I believe you said he dismissed them until it got, I guess, got so severe that he couldn't avoid dealing with it, and I guess he passed away. Right, he passed away. Um, I'm thinking about the subconscious. I'm thinking about the subconscious is is a connection between safe and unsafe, and action or inaction. Okay, so it's like, what, I don't feel safe uh, dealing with my problems because the reason why I don't feel safe is because I don't think I know what to do. And if I don't know what to do, I'm not in control. I'm not in control. So what, when I am in control, if I just dismiss and avoid and not deal with it, I feel safe because if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. And I feel safe. I feel comfortable. you know
Mhm.
and I think that's the subconscious right there, trying to protect you know a person from these perceived dangers, these negative feelings, these feelings of being out of control, right? And that conscious deal right now, we start pumping up that conscious card that you held up, and that's going to start taking control by shining some light on the history of your life, the emotions that you feel, and
Mhm.
why you feel the way you feel when you get approached with these certain situations in your life, and then you use a way, I'm going to go and shine some light on this. I'm going to shine some light on the feeling, the whatever happens, how I normally respond to it, and I'm going to ask the question, is that good or is that really bad for me? Is it good to avoid it for me, or is it bad to avoid it? Really, I have to go and be truthful to myself. I mean, it's
Mhm.
like, look, I might have cancer. I might have cancer. You know,
Yeah. You, um,
and
yeah. I mean, you don't avoid a bloody stool when it's continuous. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
You don't avoid. I mean, you don't avoid a bloody stool. That's a pretty serious indicator that you've got some problems inside. It's
yeah,
again, we all have a hemorrhage of some kind, right? I know I do. We have cracks in our armor sometimes and we see it. And if we don't patch it up, the enemy can get into those little areas that we have. So it's a constant work. It is a constant work. I want to take a few minutes here and just, if Jim doesn't mind here, we're going to take a few minutes out. There's a video here. It's about a 3-minute video. You know, I know that we're talking about these things are very important to you and I. These things are life and death. They're good decision, bad decision, good habit, bad habit. And a lot of the information that we talk about, we've learned from others. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that everything that I say on the airwaves is 100% accurate, because I'm a flawed human being. A lot of it has a practical truth. The more that you learn about your subconscious, the more that you learn about your mind, just the more that you learn how your mind operates and how you can take advantage of this organ, the better off you're going to be in life. There's a lot of folks, sadly, that ignore this kind of information. They ignore the mind, the signals. And of course, your mind is tied to your emotional intelligence, right? It's tied to your EI, it's tied to your emotional system, your nervous system, your cells, your whole body. Everything about you is so intricate. And even your cells, even your bones have memory. So everything that we go through has it's been recorded, and mainly in the subconscious. So I just want to play this short video. Hopefully you guys will stay with me. Yeah, let me fix this view here. Let me see what's the best view. The best view. Oh, what did we do? Did we get rid of it? There we go. All right, let me see if I can play this, the conscious mind. Yeah.
Time we are born until we are about the age of 7, the subconscious mind is being programmed to live in the world based on and influenced by factors such as our environment, the people we are around, such as our family, and the emotions the environmental factors cause us to experience. Over time, our subconscious mind becomes a storehouse for these experiences or learned behaviors, like skills and beliefs, to form what we call our memory. It is a knowledge base that is home to everything we know, but we have to become aware of this knowledge before we can store it in our memory, and we do that with our conscious mind. All of these experiences we have experienced consciously with our conscious mind before being stored in the subconscious, and anytime we need to access or reference that information, we use the conscious mind. Here is another way to look at it. Your subconscious mind is like a book of you. Everything you have ever experienced, along with the thoughts and emotions that come with those experiences, have been written down in this book. The book by itself is stagnant. Without the thinking aspects of who you are to actively flip through the book and realize the information inside, the book has no use. What's a book without a reader? This is where the conscious mind comes into play. Your conscious mind is the author and the reader of your book. It is the one who becomes aware of experiences and stores the information learned from them inside of the book. It is also the one who references the information that is already inside to respond to experiences. It is the actively thinking part of your mind, while the subconscious is the storehouse for the information that gives rise to thought. In other words, it's like the conscious mind is the thinker and the subconscious mind is the information that gives rise.
Now, I'm going to stop there to just discuss this just for a moment here about the subconscious. Again, it's like we've got this 10 horsepower engine and we're only operating on 2 horses. So what do you mean, Santos? Well, if you want to operate, we're not going to operate 100%. When it comes to the mind, only God's perfect. We just practice to get better. But you can tap into your subconscious and use more of it to make your daily activities a little bit more simpler or a little bit more defined. Does that make sense? It's like we're operating on this 2 horsepower engine, right? Little mini bike. We're just putting around, man. And then we're struggling. We're hemorrhaging. We've got all these situations. And then we see people passing us by all the time. How did that person do that? How did he get free? Man, how's that person making all that money? Man, they're just 8 horsepower, 7 horsepower. Nobody's doing 10 horsepower. I don't believe that humans can be that great. I don't believe that. I believe that you can live probably maybe 95% of your power, personal power. That's probably all you'll ever tap into. It won't be 100%. I don't believe that because we're flawed. So that's the key, right? It's making the load a little bit easier on ourselves. How do we get the mind working with us? How do we get it attracting to things that we need? The mind can do things for us while we're busy doing other things. How do we do that? Reprogramming, right? Reprogramming. Coming to communities like this, watching videos, hanging around the right people, asking yourself the right questions. Hit that area of your mind with many angles. And in particular, I don't know if you knew this, Jim, and I don't completely understand this all the way, but your subconscious apparently operates in the realm of the present, right? So the subconscious operates in the realm of the present. So instead of saying, you know what, I am going to get better, we should be saying, I am good right now. I am good. How you doing? Well, I don't feel like it, but I'm working on super fantastic, terrific, and over the top in spite of and because of. Right? I don't have to feel it, but I'm saying it. Why? Reprogramming myself. The more I say it, the more I begin to believe it, the more my emotions will probably follow. So that's the battle, right? And for me, it's not just about making more money. It's about peace, man. It's about tranquility, clarity, focus, micro steps, going forward, putting my ladder up against the right wall, because I've been climbing up the wrong wall for many years now. I've had to, before I got to the top, I probably would have fell off. I'm glad that I was halfway. I was able to move my ladder a little bit and begin a different climb. But it's a journey. It's difficult. It takes time. It's a lot of tools involved, and sometimes it does take money to get ahead, to learn faster, to get educated, to be around certain types of people, right? We can't, the wealthy of the wealthiest, they're not going to come down here and hang around with the homeless people down here in downtown. They're going to hang around with those types of people that are their energy. All right. So the subconscious is a good thing, even for the gambler. If the gambler can learn how to use and possess the power within himself, he can get himself free faster. Because, I'm starting to realize this more and more. It takes work, man. It really does take work for us to become better. It takes work, and some people just give up. They're not going to do it. Some people are just not going to do it. Some will, but some won't. It's just too difficult. All right, there's my piece. I got a couple minute drop. We're going to be ending the program here. Call to action next week. Next week, episode 201. I'll try to remember that one. Yeah, there we go. I've got some notes for my Jim. All right. Lay you down. You got something you want to share? Come on, what's on your mind?
I mean, like if you, it goes back to Tony Robbins and what is it, that neuro-linguistic programming. I mean, what is he really talking about in that neuro-linguistic programming? It's going into your subconscious. Your subconscious is like, it's like all the things in the world that we observe, right? They're like opening like that book in that example. It's like, what do I do? What do I do? Good or bad, right? What is my subconscious telling me to do? Should I, go forward with my addiction, or should I, abstain?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what? It's better because I get better feelings if I proceed with my addiction. I don't have to feel that hurt anymore. But our conscious mind has to be smart enough to say, hey, wait a minute, is this really good? Is this feeling really good? Is this taking me in the right direction? I mean, it's like, whoa, wait a minute, I'm climbing this ladder, right? But maybe I'm climbing down into a pit. You know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
I'm moving in the wrong direction, but it feels good. But wait a minute, why does it feel good? You start really kind of doing an audit, right, on that programming, that subconscious programming of your past experiences and your emotions. You say, well, wait a minute, this coding is all jacked. Wait a minute, what is it? I'm supposed to go ahead and spend all my money in a stupid machine or something like that? That's supposed to be making me feel good? Why? He goes, well, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. I'm supposed to feel good about this? No, no, no. I lost all that money. I felt like I wanted to kill myself. I felt so bad. Wait, well, this is no. You
Mhm.
know, you shine that light on that stuff. You said this is garbage programming, man. No. And then when you get to that instance, another future instance, right? It's like you know your subconscious mind kind of wants to take you back, but will say, whoa, wait a minute. You know, I remember this time before.
Mhm.
Uh, no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, that's
See, yeah.
that's that's kind of that's kind of it. It's like that's why we were talking about controlling our emotions, right? Our emotions, being emotionally intelligent,
Got
being
yeah.
aware of our emotions, because those emotions are tied to our subconscious, you know.
Yeah, it's all it's strange how all of that works. It's tied to our cells. Even the cells that run around our body that make up who we are, because we're cells, right? We're a unit of cells. All of that has memory within. Even within the cell, all of those components, organic components that are operating. You know what? We're really, like I said, we're operating even when we don't take care of ourselves. If we're not exercising a little bit, we're not drinking good, healthy water. Again, I do promote health products. If anybody's interested, I do promote health products. I have my own website, health products. They're not my personal, but they're products that I use to help myself because I know I don't eat right every day. So I got to supplement somehow. A few dollars a month. We probably spend more than $100 a month on hamburgers at In and Out sometimes. Why not spend $50 on something that's going to put healthy stuff into your body? We have to really take care of all of these areas that we have um, going on, and particular your brain, because the more health that your brain has, the better you can think. Right? If you're sick and if you're just a negative person, you're a complainer, you don't have anything to be grateful for. You complain. You get angry easily and stuff like that, man. How's that help your brain function better? It's not. It can't. So we have to lift ourselves up, like the proverb. The man in torments. He was in hell. Sometimes I feel like hell is right here on earth. I'm going to say something here. I don't care who agrees with me, who doesn't agree with me. I don't believe in hell. Okay, I know it's written in the Bible. The word hell in the Bible is a very spiritual meaning. I don't believe in hell, but I do believe that we are living in some form of hell now. I do believe that. And if we don't learn to look up, we're going to walk around stumbling because we'll just walk around like this. We see people that are defeated, they walk down. And you can't see ahead if you're going to walk that way. You got to lift up your head. Well, I don't feel like, it doesn't matter how you feel. Well, my emotions, it doesn't matter how your emotions will follow, man. Whip them into shape. Let's get the subconscious going first and take action. And the emotions, they have to follow, right? The emotions not going to leave you at the bus stop. They got to follow you. They're in your body. So kind of like that's the mindset that you got to have. Take action. You should take action. When should you take action? When you're in trouble. Like Jim said, it's starting to stink underneath the Band-Aid. You every once in a while you lift up the Band-Aid and you take a sniff, right? Oh man, that's putrid. Oh man, we better cover it up real quick. Put the sleeve on, the jacket, whatever you got to do. No man, I don't. Don't even let nobody get near that. Let me take a look at your band. Let me just, don't, you know what, man? You better get away from my Band-Aid. Don't even peel the edge up. Take that thing off, deal with the rot, face it. If you can't see it underneath the Band-Aid, you can't fix it, right? You can't defeat an enemy, or can you defeat an enemy that you can't see? Is that possible? Can you defeat an enemy that you can't see? All right, my friends, the time's come. I want to do a little seed drop here. Jim, you want to share? By the way, thank you, Lei Yadao. Lei came by to visit us. May have to have her come back and sing a song one of these days. I don't know if she's still watching. Ken, Mark, DE, Lei, Rob, The Rock from Brockton, Ken. Yeah, we're going to do a little bit of a meditation here before we leave. And by the way, we'll be back here, Lord willing. We'll be back here, Coach Jim and I, next Sunday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, with some more ideas. And if you guys get involved, we won't talk so much. No, I'm just joking. Mark, thank you for hanging out. The Rock from Brockton, Barry, Bob, thank you for joining us here. Excellent, Jim. Thank you. There's Ken, Ancar, Mauricio. Shout out to Facebook. Shout out to YouTube and Twitter. Race, thank you for hanging out with us here. Hour of Power. That's right, man. I hope you guys got something. I did. I got something out of this. Thank you guys for being with us. Jim, you want to share a last thought before we get into a little bit of a meditation? We're gonna just do like a 2-minute meditation. 1 minute, 2-minute meditation.
Yeah. One thing that I would kind of recommend. Well, one thing that I realize is that we all need to see results, because if we don't see results, it's not going to motivate us. So, we have to be able to, observe ourselves. We have to observe what happens. We have to write it down. We have to adjust, and we need to look for growth. Okay. We need to look for growth. I recommend, I'm planting plants, and to me, it's very, very exciting to see those little plants growing, 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, So, we're visual kinds of creatures. I encourage people to just do something like plant a plant from a seed, take intentional steps to get that plant, to germinate, to grow, tend to it, and use that as like a metaphor for your life, because with the proper, nurturing, with intentional acts, you can have that thing grow into something spectacular. Mine's going to be like this entire blockage of my neighbor, but my neighbor. So that's what I'm envisioning, So I'm looking forward to that. So it's exciting to see these plants grow, So I encourage people to do something that represents you, with intentional acts, intentional planning, you can get, something to grow, and that will represent you, and hopefully that will carry on into your own life.
That's a good little thing, yeah, to just take a seed. Even if you don't have a garden, you can take a little pottery and plant the little seed in there. That's a kind of a symbolical thing, right? You can tie something to that little seed, something that you want to grow in your life, or something that you want to dismiss in your life. So that seed could be symbolic, right? Kind of like growing roots over the old roots in your subconscious. It's all kinds of different things that we can do to help ourselves change faster, if we're willing to do that. And that's what the subconscious does. It gives you all these ideas, right?
Yeah,
we come up with all these ideas. That's where it comes from.
That plant could be a visual representation of your change, So, I mean, it could be a constant reminder, right?
Exactly. All right, we're going to do a minute. I like to call this a seed drop. All right. And looks like we got a jester. Looks like we had a jester here. Let me see. Jeter, jester, or court. What is it? The court clown. Anyhow, anybody's welcome as long as you don't become too negative, because obviously you'll just be, dismissed from the. So just let's end this program. I want you to think about this with me. Just take a minute or two, which, I'm going to turn off all the lights and put on this music, soft music, No, I'm not going to get into that. But I am going to play a little bit of music in the background, just a little bit. Hopefully we can get some sound in here. And this is a little bit too fast of music, but here's what I want you to do as we end this program. Just want you to think about that thing, okay? The language of the subconscious, from what I understand, is visual. So you got to see things in your mind to help improve that dynamic change in your behavior. If you don't get it up here, you're not going to get it out here. So the more that you think about what it is that you want to do, right? Take a minute to think about this right now with me. Let's forget about everything else. Let's forget about the broadcast. Let's forget about that plate of spaghetti that you're waiting for. It's waiting for you. Let's forget about that for a moment. Let's take a minute or two right now and just think about that thing. Picture it in your mind. Can you see it? Can you see that thing in your mind, that action? I don't know what it is. I know what it is for me. You know what it is for you. Are you seeing it in your mind's eye? Are you feeling it? Can you feel that thing? Maybe you have to close your eyes to really think about that. Right? Think about that thing, that step, that micro step, that solution. Maybe it's a phone call. You need to make a phone call. Maybe it's a class that you need to take. I don't know what it is. The benefit. Think about it. The more that you do these kinds of seed drops, thinking about that one thing, just one thing that you need, that you must take action, start doing it today. You do this a couple times a day, right? You take a minute or two and you just think about that thing and then go about your duties. Feed your subconscious, right? Let it drop in there. Throughout the day, you may end up getting thoughts about that thing that you're focused on. It may be a week. What if it takes you 6 months to get an answer? Are you willing to take that kind of a risk where you do it enough, where your subconscious says, man, you know what? I'm sick and tired of this guy, man. Let's give him what he wants. There's your idea. All right. So with that said, I thank you guys for hanging out with me here. Hopefully you guys walked away. Next week. We'll be back here again, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Episode 201. We'll do some more clarity, some more focus, some more fine-tuning. The battle of the mind stuff. Jim, anything else you want to share before we close this thing down?
Yeah, be aware of what season it is, right? What season it is? It's springtime, right? It's springtime. So it's time to start planting, right, Santos? It's time to start intentionally planting, positive, positive things in our mind so that we can move forward to, overcome and achieve.
Yeah, let's focus on this next week a little bit more. Maybe we can do some fine tuning. Hey, if you guys got some ideas, by the way, man, send me an email. I know my screen is freezing up. It's Wi-Fi. Let me see if it'll get back to normal again. If you have an idea on a topic, you got something that you want to focus on one of these broadcasts, please let us know. Just let us know and we'll bring it up. We'll dig in. And again, we're here to answer questions and provide the best that we can with what we have. Until next time, remember to make your day super fantastic, terrific, and over the top in spite of and because of. Your emotions will follow. Just take action. All right, guys. Thanks, Jim, for hanging out. Coach
Thanks,
Jim so we got some work to do this week, Jim.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get it on.
Yep.
Have a good
let's
week
do it.
there, Santos.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Peace through strength. All right. Well, good to see you, Laura. We'll see you guys next week. Peace through strength.